for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Comey, your statement on Tuesday indicated that Secretary Clinton and her colleagues sent and received emails marked classified on an unsecured private email server that may or may not have been hacked by a foreign power. Are you aware that teenage hackers hacked the personal email accounts of CIA Director John Brennan, the Director of U.S. National Intelligence James Clapper, and FBI Deputy Director Mark Giuliano?
I am intensely aware. They didn't hack in the way we normally think of it, but that they, by trickery, got access to their account.
The point I want to make is that these were commercially protected personal email accounts that contained no classified information, yet Mrs. Clinton used her personal email, not a commercial account, on a server in her basement without even this basic protection, and transmitted classified information through that account. If teenagers in England were able to hack the personal email accounts of the Director of the CIA, the Director of U.S. National Intelligence, and the Deputy Director of FBI, does it concern you that sophisticated hackers or hackers working for foreign interests never attempted? I mean, does it seem reasonable that they never attempted or were never successful in hacking Mrs. Clinton's personal email accounts or one of her devices?
No, it concerns me a great deal, and that's why we spent so much time to see if we could see fingerprints of that.
Well, you said in your statement regarding your recommendation not to prosecute, to be clear, this is not to suggest that in similar circumstances a person who engaged in this activity would face no consequences. To the contrary, these individuals are often subject to security or administrative sanctions, but that is not what we're deciding here. Do you stand by that?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you would. You also said you could not prove intent. What I want to touch on a couple things here. One, a reasonable person would not have compromised classified information by keeping that information on inadequately secure private devices. In other words, such a person would be viewed as unreasonable and unsuitable for any position in our government that included any responsibility for handling and protecting classified information. Would you agree?
I would agree it would be negligent. I can't prejudge a suitability determination, but it would definitely be stared at very hard.
Well, let me tell you why I bring this up. I sat here next to Mr. Hurd, who served our country valiantly, put his life on the line. And I don't know if you could sense the passion and intensity of his questions, because he knows people whose lives are on the line right now. And in regard to his questions, if someone, a U.S. intelligence agent, had their mission compromised or worse, had been killed or injured or captured because of the carelessness of someone responsible for protecting classified information, would intent matter at that point?
In deciding whether to prosecute the person, of course. But yeah, that's the answer. Of course it would. The matter would be deadly serious, but the legal standards would be the same.
Well, what we're dealing with in this hearing is not the lack of due diligence in handling routine government data or information, but the lack of due diligence by Secretary Clinton and her carelessness in handling classified information that could have compromised American national security and, as Mr. Hurd pointed out, the missions and personal safety of our intelligence agents. That troubles me greatly. And I think the issue here, and I do respect you. I have spoken in your defense many times, at this point to my detriment. But I do believe that your answers are honest and factual. But based on your answers regarding Mrs. Clinton's use of email, and based on what we know, it seems to me that she is stunningly incompetent in her understanding of the basic technology of email and stunningly incompetent in handling classified information. I mean, you should never associate the Secretary of State and classified information with the word careless. It doesn't matter. I mean, we have to exercise the utmost due diligence. All of us in this committee do in handling this. You do in prosecuting cases, and I see that in what you're trying to do. I just think we need to leave here with this understanding that there's more to this story than we know. If a foreign hacker got into this, I can assure you that they know what was in those emails that were deleted. They read them all. They know what is in the emails that we never received. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I thank the gentleman.